What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another trade recap. You could see three beautiful trades this morning on NQ for a nice 13K. So 10 accounts, about $1,300 across all 10 of those accounts. First trade here was an IFEG, ran for about a 3.8R. Second trade, 2022 model, ran for about a 3.3R. And then we even had another IFEG here. Cut this one short just because momentum wasn't really there, but we got a nice 1.4 R on that one as well. I'm going to go ahead and break these down, rewind at the beginning of New York session. That way you can see exactly what I was looking at, and then we'll go from there. So let's go up to the 15-minute time frame, and you can see beautiful little bullish run that we had coming from London session. You can see London low got taken down here, and then pre-New York, we ended up delivering bullish, and then we smashed right into London high as well. We had this 15-minute fair value gap down here. We had this bullish order block down here. My only concern with this level, which is a level I would typically look to take, was that we had a higher time frame draw of a weekly order block down here, and I'll show you what that looks like on the weekly time frame. We had that weekly order block down here as well, so I was thinking price may want to use that as a draw on liquidity. So if it gets down way to this point where that order block is, it'll probably trade through it. And you can see right now market is still open and we're making our way down past that. If you would have put limit orders here, it would have got wicked out, which is why I opted for the IFEG setup. You could see we also had higher time frame draws to the bullish side as well. We had a daily order block up here that we left behind yesterday, and then we also had a massive 4-hour fair value gap up here as well that I knew we might not reach for, but it was still a direction for an initial expansion. So with that being the case, my overall thesis was I was first going to see what type of reaction we got here, whether an IFEG or a 2022 model, and then I was going to aim for this liquidity / the bearish 15-minute order block up here. And if that failed, I was going to look for sells potentially to target the weekly order block. So those were my two initial ideas going into this session. Let's drop down to the 1 minute and see what actually happened here. Market opens here. For the early part of the session, we pretty much just chop back and forth, and then we're leaving all of these short-term highs. These internal highs are just getting left here in the process. And we finally go down to take sell-side liquidity down here. We have a nice little inversion fair value gap, but it's not quite ready to deliver yet. It just leaves another stacked high until we deliver into the 15-minute fair value gap, which I was plotting on down here. I thought about putting a limit order there, but because price was so wicky today, I didn't really want to chance that. So I decided to wait for the initial confirmation. I still got in a little bit early, but you could see this fair value gap does invert very nicely. And I got in right about here as it was continuing that displacement. Stop loss was under the IFEG candle right here. And then I was targeting these highs up here, but I actually ended up TPing a little sooner than that. So beautiful delivery from that IFEG right there and the 15-minute fair value gap. So that was a textbook setup. Notice though, we do have a very small range today. Although they are big candles, it is a very small range. So if you did wait for full confirmation, or if you got in right here, it was very, very close target right to that first level there. And you know, it's not the best for the biggest RRs, but you can see here we did book a decent amount. That was like a 1 to 3, so my film must have been somewhere around here. Nice 600 on that position, quick 1 to 3 in the bag. Now, second position that I took, you can see we came up to sweep this 15-minute high up here. So this was actually a high. We also left a high from that move down into the 15-minute fair value gap. So when we came up to sweep it, we started to deliver the other side of the market. So I started noticing this. I also noticed that the 4-hour order block was starting to fail, this one right here. So it was looking like that we wouldn't put a very strong order block in place by that time. But you could see back on the 1 minute chart, we did break past this low, market structure shift, And then we also took liquidity and left a fair value gap. Not only that, but we had a draw on liquidity lower, and you can see price wicks right into there, and we delivered down. And I got in somewhere around here. Stop loss was above that, and then my target was down here. So roughly another 3R. And you can see my runner gets stopped out at break even. Both these positions, I did leave a runner, but it either didn't have the momentum, so I cut it short, or it got stopped out at break even. It's one of those days where the market was very, very inside for the majority of the early parts of our session. And you can see here, this is the third IFVG that I took that formed right off of that low. And then by this time, we also had a slight 4-hour order block, because we did technically close above that candle. So we were also respecting that little level in there. So you can see I got in a little early again. So right about there, stop loss below the fair value gap candle. And then I got my TP right up here. I was planning on holding this one for longer, but it just did not have the momentum. So glad I got out when I did, because it does start to dump right after that. So beautiful, beautiful session today, guys. A lot of textbook setups if you're an IFEG trader or a 2022 model trader, and you could have even used my turtle soup model on this one right there. Really hope you guys learned something. Drop a comment below if you did, and as usual, all the links are in the description to get discounts. Follow me on social media, work with me one-on-one. All of that is in the description below.